Okay. Let me welcome back to the podcast, Josh Guerrero, founder, host of the All Around Adventure podcast. Josh, been a minute, but hey, welcome back, buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah, Michael, it's good to see you again, man. Been looking forward to catching up.
Yeah, me too. We're all still kicking around here. Hey, just let's jump right into the main reason that we're going to talk and get this episode out today, other than just catching up on life and what's going on around COVID and recovery and the new world, the new norm. Here's the most important thing. Last time we talked, you were headed off on a very important fundraising adventure, and that got postponed. We're going to talk about what you've had to do to shift fire in that mission, but most importantly, you are headed off to do that shortly after this airs. This will air August 19th, and then you'll be embarking. So we are going to talk about that fundraiser today, what the mission is, who it serves, and get this out into the hands of folks that want to know what you're doing, want awareness, and want to support you. So that's going to be our main drive today. I know there's going to be a lot around that. So let's maybe pick up where we left off last time. I think when we talked, I called you sort of the modern day Indiana Jones. You're an archaeologist. You're a veteran. You're an adventurer, a traveler. You love the world. You love to get out there and do exciting, sometimes scary, fun things. And you had quite a mission to South America planned with a charitable endeavor in mind. So pick back up from that, what you had intended, and then let's talk about what you're going to do to make this happen in modern fashion, and what you're going to do this month.
Yeah, well, initially the plan was I was going to do Operation Dual Trek, and what I had in mind is I was going to walk the entire length of two South American countries, both Paraguay and Uruguay. And, I had pretty much everything set to go. By the time you and I talked initially, I pretty much had all of my gear ordered. I had hired a researcher to help me do route planning and answer some questions, kind of work out some of the logistical and an admin side of things, whether or not I'm going to need like a visa and so on and so forth. And everything seemed like it was going according to plan. And I was really excited to go out there, and I had announced it to the world. And of course, you and I announced it the first time. But, as we all know, 2020 was a little bit of a year, and a lot of things happened that took us all completely by surprise and just really kind of shocked the world a little bit. And so therefore, I had to unfortunately postpone the event, and I was hoping by this time in 2021 things would be cleared up and I'd be able to go, but we are still very much feeling the effects of this microscopic enemy that decided to show its ugly face to us. And so I had to shift gears. So therefore I decided to still do something amazing, but a little bit closer to home. So I'm going to be doing something domestically this time around, and not traveling abroad for this one. Not as exciting, but still challenging and pretty cool nonetheless, though.
So you're still calling it Dual Trek?
I think so. I had briefly entertained the idea of maybe kind of throwing Argentina into the mix, like just crossing from like Paraguay into Argentina, going through Argentina and going into Uruguay, which I think would make it a triple trek actually, and not a dual trek. And I don't think I'm going to neglect that entirely. I still really very much want to do that trek, because again, I put a lot of work into it and I was really excited about going, but it's just gonna have to be put on the back burner for a while. So it's definitely something I don't think I'm going to cast aside entirely. It's just not in the cards right now, as we all know why.
Right. Yeah. Had to hit pause on that. And so just to recap, what's the benefit of that mission?
Right. Yes. I was raising money for a nonprofit that helps veterans. It's called American Veterans Archaeological Recovery. And what they do is they take wounded veterans, regular veterans, active duty personnel, and they take them out into the field to do field archaeology, and all around the world too. They've had a couple of dig sites here in US. They recently did one in Saratoga, New York, and they actually just wrapped up this really cool dig out in England. They were in the south of England, and they were digging to recover the remains of a B-24 Liberator bomber plane that crashed during World War II. And so it was pretty exciting for not only the AVAR staff. AVAR is the abbreviation for American Veterans Archaeological Recovery. It was not only exciting for their staff, but also the veterans that had a chance to participate in this dig to work towards recovering this plane. And and now I think they're talking about sending veterans out to Italy next. So lots of great opportunities for veterans to get out there. And this does a wide variety of benefits that veterans can gain from doing this. But I think the three that kind of come to mind the most are: one, veterans get a chance to connect with fellow veterans. And this is especially beneficial for veterans who are, let's say, recently transitioning from the military, because they're a part of, this tribe of warriors for however many years that they're serving. And then once they get out, suddenly, they're no longer part of that tribe anymore. And depending on where they go next, they may not be around with very many other veterans who could entirely relate to their experiences and what they went through. So getting a chance to connect with veterans again is definitely a beneficial part of participating on a dig. And then there's also getting a new mission, because while they're on active duty, they know what their mission is. They know what's expected of them. But then when they get out of the military, sometimes their next mission may not be quite as apparent, but they kind of get that. They get something to focus on and achieve tangible results in when they're excavating on a dig site and they're recovering artifacts, which, mind you, some of these artifacts may be lost to the world for hundreds of thousands of years until they actually find it themselves. And then lastly, AVAR also works to try to set these veterans up for success. It's not something where, hey, just come do this cool thing with us for a couple of weeks, and then we're just going to send you right back to where you left off. What we really try to do is hopefully maybe kind of set them on a trajectory where they could move on to the next step with whatever it is that they want to achieve as civilians and in their life. And for some, maybe that might actually be archaeology. Maybe they really enjoy being on the dig and say they may want to make a career out of it. Well, now they just got some field experience. Now they made some valuable connections, not only with the AVAR staff, but other archaeologists that may be working out in the field with them. So there's some means there to get started going on a career path for archaeology if they so choose.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess I would add an element to that. Maybe it's sub bullet, from mission is literally getting out in the field.
Yeah.
Again, and that can reconnect to a lot of things. But if nothing else, it's a connection to nature, grounding, literally getting in the dirt. And there's just so much good stuff that happens to that. In fact, I had a guest on recently who he pulled out some research in a book that researchers are monitoring brainwave patterns and time in nature, even a little bit of time in nature, talking like 20 minutes, out in a greenway or in your yard or something like that, all the way up to, something like you're doing. We're going to be out in nature for extended periods of time. They can observe changes in the brainwave patterns, meaning relaxed brainwave states that are equivalent to what you would get from advanced meditation. Right. And
wow.
we're all familiar with kind of the reputation of those benefits. So yeah, even just field work, right? Getting back into the dirt and into nature.
Yeah, and veterans are pretty good at that. Like, you should have seen us during boot camp, Michael, when I was in the Marine Corps. Man, I was just like covered head to toe in dirt a lot of times. But at the same time, it's just we did that kind of stuff as a kid, didn't we? Where we would just get outside and play. But then, unfortunately, kind of with the rise in technology, you got more and more kids that are staying inside these days, just fiddling around with tablets and Netflix and video games and so on and so forth. But it's just getting outside and just being like one with nature. And I think, you recently just had Michael Easter on, and he, kind of talked about just, getting outside and sometimes even embracing discomfort. And we've talked about that a little bit too. I just think that's what we were sort of kind of meant to do. I don't think we were meant to just, be around so much stimuli with all the technology that we have. So I think really, just getting out in nature, I think it's just really getting back to the basics, man. That's just the way, we've done it. We've done it that way for, thousands of years, and we're kind of veering away from that more and more. So let's get back to nature though. Totally.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we don't have to get too far down this rabbit hole in the interest of time and your cause, but yeah, a couple of things I want to mention, just since you plucked out that was from Michael Easter, what I just sort of cited. Another thing that he brought out, and I don't recall if we talked about this on air or it's just in his book, but I'm looking at your background. There's the window frame. I got stuff behind me. He brought out this point that the only straight lines in our world are man-made. And when you're in nature, everything is more, Fibonacci, these ratios, fractal shaped. And, we don't really necessarily think about that or recognize that, but we spent however long, millions of years evolving in an environment that looked and felt one way. And now we've
Yeah.
placed ourselves over the last, hundreds or maybe thousands of years in a completely different environment.
Yeah.
And,
Of our
maybe
own
that affects
doing
our
too.
brains of our own doing. Absolutely. Yeah. Again, like not too much of a tangent, but I gotta tell you a quick story since we haven't caught up in a while. I recently did I love this idea of manufactured crucibles, going into immersive events as growth experiences. So I went and did a 75-hour men's growth event. And one of the lead instructors is one of your brethren, a crazy ass Marine. That's probably a redundant label,
But accurate though, nonetheless.
but accurate. And honestly, it's all sort of growth and awareness through suffering, right? Lean into it and find something about yourself. And in the dirt, it's got to be in the dirt, right? So there's one of the best growth experiences is there's literally this, call it the pit, and you just get to spend a lot of time on the ground in the pit. And I remember a point in time where instructor Steve, the Marine, had us face down in the dirt, kicking dirt in our face and on our head and all in my hair, all over us, just literally kicking dirt and dust at us and screaming at us as only a drill sergeant type could, right? But man, I remember just like, even though I was buried face down in the dirt, just smiling, just having a great time. Where else would you rather be at that moment? You're in it, so just get in there and enjoy it.
Yeah, and these are the types of stories that you like to tell, and as I like to tell too. I mean, and it's also the types of stories that most people want to listen to, because if you went into that event and you all just, I don't know, ate cake and hung out and just did nothing, challenging or, test yourself like in any way, would this be a very compelling story that anyone would really want to hear? I mean, that's why even in the stories that we tell ourselves today and we portray in things like, TV shows and movies, we want to see the main character or any other characters in the story struggle, because that's what makes it exciting. If it was all, just, yeah, they skated through like, the whole movie and everything went perfect for them, then it wouldn't be nearly as exciting. There's something about, I guess, conflict to an extent that just kind of sort of really piques our interest,
Yeah, absolutely. It is the hero's journey, the character story arc, and veterans understand as well as anybody where training, hardship, unexpected, and a lot of times, pain, suffering, real world bad stuff can happen, but it's always unexpected. And life's unexpected, right? We can't control it. We might, we have this sort of complex as humans, I think, that we think we can mitigate risk, but who knows, right? You stay home and a meteor could crash through your roof, right? Like we can't. So why not just get out there and get amongst it, which is so cool about what you're going to do, right? You're going to go off on this adventure, and unexpected stuff's going to happen. And that's almost the best part. So before we dive into what that's going to look like, just the intro you did on AVAR and how it involves vets in this mission. How would vets, if they're listening to this, who might be interested, explore AVAR, apply for that opportunity, or get involved?
Right. Well, their website is American Veterans Archaeological Recovery.org. I'm pretty sure. I'll send you like the link to that. I'll be sure I clearly did not prepare to put in that plug, but they do have like a means to contact them via the website, kind of sort of like, an application process to go out in the dig and everything. So they can head to the website and you can see some of like the past projects that they've done. And they also list their upcoming projects as far as what they're going to be looking to take veterans on in like in the near future. Again, I believe the next dig is Sicily. So that should be pretty exciting. And then it also kind of explains like their process a little bit more, like this approach that they use to help veterans. It's called rehabilitation archaeology is what it is. And it goes back to what I was sort of describing a little bit earlier. And then, so that would probably be like just the best way to start. Yeah, go check out the website. If you are interested in participating on a dig, reach out to them via like the means of contact on the website and kind of like go from there.
Great. I mean, I hope they have a lot of interest. I hope, an application process is needed because there are a lot of people who would be interested in this. So, we'll get this out to the tribe. I'll certainly get a link up as we get links together for this episode in the show notes. But I know people personally that might be interested. So great to hear that
Right on.
that's the process. Yeah, for sure. No, it's a really cool opportunity. And then for you, right, you made this commitment to go off, do this adventure, raise awareness, raise funds for the benefit of Avar. And then these macro events, the world, life, it's shifted. And so you had to hit pause. And I love this, right? Because you could just be reactive, you could be passive, and you could just sit around waiting for all that to work out perfectly as you intended. But like we just talked about, that's not how life goes. Life throws us these challenges and things that are unexpected. And so you have, I think, rooted yourself in the integrity of the commitment you made and said, all right, great. How do I adapt and overcome? So what does it look like now instead of Paraguay and Uruguay?
Well, now the new mission is Operation Wolverine Walk, and Wolverine comes from my home state of Michigan, which is the Wolverine State. Which I'm not sure why we don't really have very many Wolverines like up and around here anymore, but the name still sticks. So that's what I ended up calling it. And so, since I can't walk the entire length of the countries that I want to do in South America, I decided to walk the entire length of my home state, which, interestingly enough, is pretty much about the same distance of what I would have done in South America anyway. So it's going to be about 1,200 miles. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be following the North Country National Scenic Trail, or just the North Country Trail for short. And it starts up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, right on the border with Wisconsin. And that's where I'm just going to be dropped off. There is a small bridge that crosses the river, and that river, it makes up the border of Wisconsin and Michigan. So I'm just going to have my younger brother, who's going to be dropping me off. He's just going to plot me out in the bridge. He's going to drive away, and I'm just going to start walking. And then, I'm going to start moving eastward into the Upper Peninsula, and then just keep following that trail for about 1,200 miles until I reach the border with Ohio. And that's going to probably take me maybe about 3 to 4 months. And that's another thing too. I didn't really put a time limit on this because I actually really am going to embrace this chance, well, for myself to be immersed in nature, kind of like how we talked about, with limited means to connect to the internet all the time, and then just kind of really get back to the basics as we've talked about as well. So it's going to be a good time, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh man, I'm excited for you. That's so cool. It's going to be, what does that look like this time of year? Are you going to get sort of fall foliage, the turning of the leaves, or is it possible you're going to run into snow? I mean, 3 or 4 months. I can remember it snowing in southern Michigan by Halloween.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why I wanted to start in the Upper Peninsula first, because if the cold and the snow starts to come in, it's going to probably happen up there first. Hence why I wanted to go start there. But yes, I think probably by the time I get through, I may start seeing the leaves start to change a little bit. And even though it's still going to be within the summer months, I'm going to be starting. So I'm kind of sort of packing for both occasions. I am going to be have my shorts with me to start, I'm sure, but then my pants are going to probably be in the pack, ready to go in case it does decide to cool off pretty quick. But if it's going to take me about 3 to 4 months, it'll probably be around November time when I'll probably be wrapping this up. And so by then I'll be a little bit more further south where, if the cold decides to come in, hopefully it won't hit me quite as hard down there. But then again, embracing the whole challenge thing, if it does, so be it. And I'm still gonna have a blast.
That's amazing. So you go east across the UP, you come down across, I guess, what do? Walk across the Saginaw Bridge? You take a ferry? What does that look like?
Well, unfortunately, the Mackinac Bridge that connects both peninsulas is not walkable. Well, they only open it up one time of year, and I want to say that's on Labor Day, where they actually do a Mackinac Bridge walk. But besides that, though, it's not a walkable bridge. So what I'll have to do is once I finish in the Upper Peninsula, I'll have to take a ferry boat over to Mackinac Island. And then, which I don't know if I necessarily have to do that, but I kind of just want to anyway, because Mackinac Island, for anyone who's been there, knows that it's a pretty cool place to visit. And then from there, take a ferry to the Lower Peninsula and then start walking there.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've heard it's super beautiful up there, Mackinac. Thanks for correcting me on that. Been a while. I mean, it was what, early '90s when I was up, going to school in Michigan, and there was, I don't know if you remember this, there was a woman, unfortunately, in a Yugo who was blown off that bridge
Mhm.
into the water to her death. But this tiny
I think
car,
I've
and
heard of that
the
story.
wind gets so crazy up there.
Hmm.
Yeah, kind of brutal weather.
Yeah, we there was many a moments like driving across that bridge where, especially like when it's raining too, and then when you combine like a heavy rainfall with the high winds out there, it's you got like sideways rain. It's just like it's not even hitting my windshield; it's just blasting like my driver's side windows. So it's definitely can be a precarious bridge, but if you've made that drive before, then you know that it's makes for some pretty stunning views of the lakes there. And but yeah, I do remember that incident that you talked about, though, is yeah, when the woman's car got blown off the bridge, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, you were like 5 years old at the time, so you may not
Yeah,
remember that
yeah,
one.
yeah. I was probably like in elementary school, and I think I heard that from one of my teachers actually that said
Yeah.
that told that story. So
Yep. Yep. No, I was up there. So then do you come down sort of the central part of the southern part of Michigan? I mean, hey, great thing is like we all have a map of Michigan here in our hand. So are you coming down like the center or the east side of the state, or?
well, it's like so the Mackinac Bridge is like right around here. And
Yep.
but the trail is going to kind of sort of like skirt westward into the state, and I'm going to be kind of hugging Lake Michigan a little bit. And then right around here is the Manistee National Forest. And the cool thing about the trail, it like cuts through like the entire forest. And then right around here is the city of Grand Rapids, so I'll probably stop in there. And then like around here, you got cities like Kalamazoo and Battle Creek. I'll probably be closer to Kalamazoo, and then it'll kind of start curving a little bit more center, and then it'll kind of just stop right here, like right in
Got
the
it.
middle of the state where it meets Ohio. So yeah, that's pretty roughly about what the Lower Peninsula is going to look like.
Okay. Yeah, really cool. And so part of that then also is, so you're starting up north, you're working your way south as we move from fall to winter up there. I mean, November is almost always November, almost always winter in Michigan. But you're moving across that western side of the state, like you mentioned, on the border of Lake Michigan. So winds coming east, that's lake effect snow over there. You could have some fun weather.
Yeah, and that will be kind of cool to see as well, and to kind of hike through. Like, I guess I would, quite frankly, I think I would prefer to be a little bit colder for very, very long hikes than it would be to be very high. Like, I don't know if the cold entirely saps your energy like extreme heat does. But then again, I haven't experimented with that too much to make a very accurate comparison. But I think I'm going to go with that. I get that lake effect snow early on. But either way, I think
Just go with
it's
that.
yeah, just go with that. Yeah,
Go with
yeah, for
that.
sure.
So Michigan's do you call it the Wolverine State? I'm happy to call it the Wolverine State since I went to University of Michigan.
Yeah, Wolverine State
But it's
for sure.
also the 10,000 Lake State, I think. So right, I think you
That
got a tunnel.
that might be Minnesota.
Is that
Like,
Minnesota?
I think it might be Minnesota. I mean,
Oh,
I
I mucked
wouldn't
that one up.
really count like that many lakes here in Michigan. We do have our fair share of inland lakes, yes, but I want to say that that's Minnesota.
Okay, I may
But
have that wrong.
I'm not sure if that's like their official state designation, where it's like I know like we're the Wolverine State, Florida's the Sunshine State. There's and every state has its own thing, right? I'm not sure if that's Minnesota's, but I think they're known for that though.
Yeah,
You
you
know
may
what?
be right.
We'll have to take the
Nonetheless,
Google, yeah, when we're done
all right,
done
we'll
there.
look that
So
one up. Nonetheless, I want to know if you got any cold plunges planned along the way. Are you an ice
that's
bath guy?
well, I'm more of a cold shower guy, but I'm not opposed to the ice bath. I've had a couple of them. So hmm that might be just a cool thing to add. And I'm sure like as I go, I'm gonna probably just come across like a wide variety of things that I'm probably just gonna sort of like do on the fly. Like I've actually had like some people in a Facebook group that I'm a part of suggest that maybe I'd stop at like some VA clinics along the way and maybe do some public
Nice.
speaking or something like that. So don't have anything like booked just yet, but I'm definitely going to leave myself open to those options, and certainly would consider options to just up the ante just a little bit and do some cold plunges here and there should I find them.
Yeah, there you go. Make sure you take some pictures. I'm excited to see all this. Is it? How does 3 4 months? I mean, is it self-supported? Or are you just replenishing supplies as you get from town to town, or what does that look like?
That's a great question. Yeah, actually, I have a bunch of resupply boxes packed up, and each one of them will contain about a week's worth of food. And my brother is my logistics manager for this expedition. He's going to be holding on to all of the resupply boxes. And really, what it's just going to boil down to is that once I reach certain points along the trail, I'll just give him a ring and just tell him to ship one of the boxes. And I have the boxes numbered like 1 through, I think I got like 13 of them that I have packed up. And then some of the boxes will contain different things. Like some of them will contain like maps that I printed off for like later sections of the trail, because you're not going to get like, a fancy schmancy fold out map for the whole trail. It's broken up quite a bit. So I'm going to just when the time comes, just text them an address, because the cool thing is you can actually get your packages shipped to post offices, and you can just pick them up from the post office. And so once I know that I'm within the vicinity of a post office, I'll just have them ship it there, and then just kind of replenish my supply that way. And then of course I could do resupplies on the go, but it'll probably be for more like smaller things. Like snacks, like let's say if I want more beef jerky or trail mix, or maybe like some gas station protein bars or something like that.
Right.
I'll resupply that way. But yeah, that's how it's gonna go. I got everything all packed up, like some dehydrated meals and a few other things. And so yeah, he's gonna be running point on that for me.
Cool. No, I love hearing these logistics. I know I do recall the post office type of thing, because I know people on the Appalachian Trail do that.
Yeah. That's a good way of doing it.
Are you are you running like mountain house type of dehydrated meals, or are you going like military MRE style?
Well, a little bit of a mix of both, because anyone who's had MREs in the past, that they do provide you with a good amount of calories, but not really quite so much in like the range of nutritional value, unfortunately. So, and they can back your system up quite a bit, if everyone catches my drift. So I will have those on some days, but yeah, I'm going to have some dehydrated meals, and I'm actually trying a couple of new companies this time around. I got some dehydrated meals from this company called Nutrient Survival, and I think they're a veteran-run organization, or at the very least, they have like some veteran ambassadors that promote their company, and they seem to be a little bit more spread out. Nutritionally speaking, they're a little bit more spread out. And then I'm also trying these green belly meal to go bars, is what they are, like meal two, like the numeral 2 to go. And they're just these, I should have brought some of these down here so I can show you, but yeah, they're just like these kind of like granola type bars, but they are packed so densely with like nutrition. Like each one of these bars, it's maybe only like this big, but it has like 600 calories per bar. And then they're pretty well balanced out in terms of like protein, fibers, and vitamins, minerals, things like that. And they're just pretty convenient, because I don't have to add water to them. I just open up the package and then they're ready to go. And another thing I'll tell about this, and I'm hoping this doesn't shoot me in the foot when I'm out there, but I'm actually going stoveless on this one.
Oh, wow.
Where I know like a lot of through hikers like to have small little stoves to boil water to heat their food. And you could have these dehydrated meals without boiling water. It's probably just going to take a little bit longer for them to be ready. And for anyone who's been out there, and if it starts getting cold, that hot food is very much a welcomed respite. So, but I'm going to have to probably just reward myself with hot meals, like after a few days of slugging it out on the trail, once I make it to like some towns and everything, to and treat myself to like a nice big hearty warm meal. So but I think maybe part of me just thinks that just for simplicity's sake, and for the sake of resupplying a little bit more, go a little bit more smoothly, so I don't have to resupply gas or anything like that, which would probably be a little bit trickier to come by. So I'm going to go stoveless on this one. Again, I hope it doesn't shoot me in the foot as I go. But yeah, that's kind of the plan when it comes to meals on the trail.
No, that's super cool. Like, yeah, like the Whisper Light stove is a multi-fuel stove, so it can run even on gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
I think white gas is preferred, but I mean that's cool, right? Because you going back to comfort crisis, you're going to add another thing in here. you're going to add delayed gratification, right? Maybe the hot meal
Yeah,
is
yeah.
waiting at the next town, and just save on weight and logistics, and keep it simple. I'll tell you, like I know what you mean about MREs. I've got another Marine veteran buddy who I'll make sure he listens to this one, and I think he might be interested in AVAR. We were talking about MREs recently, and he said, "Man, I love those things." And I said, I can't stand them. And one of the things I had, maybe I haven't had the full MRE experience, or maybe I've actually had the MRE experience, which if I've had, I don't know, 10 MREs in my life, I've never had one hot. It's always been in some event, some situation where it's like, you've got 5 minutes to eat this.
Mhm.
And there's no heating it up. You're just spooning that, the cold spaghetti thing out of the packet, and maybe sucking down the sugar pack, and off you go.
Yeah, that's very much the case, especially for those who may be on active service and they got MREs in the field. Yeah, it's pretty much just, get it down and then get up and keep moving type sort of situation. But I've used MREs in the past for like other multi-day hikes that I've done. And I forgot to mention this, but they actually do come with this like really cool like water heater where they have like this package, and then you just add like a little bit of water, and then you like tilt it down and you place your main meal on top of it. And there's whatever's in there. I haven't actually like looked up the science for this, but whatever they have in there creates like a chemical reaction when it makes contact with water and produces heat. So it could actually heat up your meals that way. So we were able to do that during some of those multi-day hikes when, time was a little bit more on our side. But when you're when you're slugging it out in the field, like with your platoon, it's you don't really have the luxury of time to really fully enjoy the meals. It's just get the calories in and then just keep moving.
Yeah, it's just fuel. Yeah, so I've seen that packet. I've never had the chance to play with it. I've always had to go cold. But yeah, so nutrient survival, green belly to go. Those sound really cool. I'll get some links and some plugs out for those too. Even whether it's spending some time out hunting, hiking in nature, or just great for like a go bag in the car,
Yeah.
or at home.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was nutrient survival's like initial idea is for kind of more and of course, I'm not going to speak for the company, but they have a lot of stuff for those who are kind of more on the prepper side of things. Like you can get like much bigger tubs worth of food that can be stored for a very long time. I think that's kind of more like their thing is for, survival purposes, prepping and things like that.
Got it. Got it. Well, we're kind of down in the weeds here a little bit, but I love this stuff. Can we talk about gear for a minute? And Michael
Sure.
Easter, we're talking about his Alaskan adventure with Donnie Vincent, and so I was really curious, especially because they used a teepee for their hunting campsite. But we talked boots, we talked pack. Just run me through. I'm a gear geek, so what do you like, or what are you carrying?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely was looking more into the ultralight side of gear, but just kind of like how I like to seek versatility with myself. I try to seek versatility in my gear, and just like as we know, when it comes to like ultralight equipment, the lighter you go, the more expensive it's going to be, and sometimes depending on what you get, you could be compromising durability as well. So I kind of wanted to try to find equipment that was definitely very light but still durable. And then also, as I'll mention, since I am actually self-financing the entire cost of this expedition, because I wanted any at all donations that come in to go directly to AVAR. I didn't want to get any of the money that came in. So I kind of had to be within a budget a little bit. So, and so one of the companies that I found that has some really good ultralight gear that was within reasonable prices was Big Agnes. They're based in Colorado. I got their Copper Spur ultralight tent, one person tent, and I also got their sleeping bag, which is the Torchlight 30, which it can be comfortable at about 30 degrees. So hopefully should be within reasonable temperatures when it starts getting a little bit cooler in Michigan. And then as far as my pack is concerned, I'm using the Osprey Atmos 65. Again, kind of for the same reasons I've talked about. It's fairly lightweight, pretty robust though, and durable, and still can hold a lot of space. And then, I just got various other like knickknacks that I'm going to be taking. Like I got like a small like Gerber multi-tool. It's called the Dime. That should serve pretty well. And then as far as clothes is concerned, my footwear, I got some shoes from Solomon. I've used Solomon shoes for years, and it's just one of those things where I don't feel the need to change it up because it just works for me. Because I mean, I know there's a lot of shoe companies, and I've entertained the idea briefly about maybe looking at some other shoe companies. I know like Merrill and also Vask shoes have some really good shoes out there, but it's just like, I know these shoes work for me. And so I decided to get the, I don't know, they got all these numbers. It's like the XA Pro 3Ds as the model shoe that I'm using. And again, this is like,
so it's a trail shoe, not a boot.
It's a trail shoe, not a boot. Yeah. And this is like probably the third pair that I've owned. And like I said, they just work. So that's what I'm going to do. And then as far as clothes is concerned, I got pretty much all of my clothes from a company called Beyond Clothing. And the founder and CEO there is a former Green Beret. And I tell you, it's like, when I forgot my first pair of Beyond pants is when I first started working as an archaeologist. And the pants I was using out in the field at the time were, something maybe a little bit more simple. I'm not going to name any brands like out there because I don't want to speak ill of other companies. But let's just say that the ones I got didn't cost very much, but that I decided to throw down a little bit more for some pants from Beyond Clothing. And it was a night and day difference. Like I felt like I was putting a cloud on my legs. Man, it was pretty awesome. So I knew that any clothes that I would get from them would serve me well on this expedition. So I got a pair of shorts from them that I'm going to use. And then I also got a pair of pants from them that I'm going to use, as well as a couple of t-shirts. And then, of course, as I showed you earlier, typically I don't wear hats a lot, but I feel like I'm going to need it because, especially if I'm going to be exposed to the sun for that long, day in and day out. But I got a Goruck Attack Hat here, and they have some Velcro on the front there to put your 3x2 patches. And I got this Avar custom patch made for this occasion. And so that's going to be going out on the trail with me as well. But so those are pretty much the main things. I mean, anything else is just going to be, just some basic, maybe medical supplies, a first aid kit. And then, that's pretty much about the extent of it. And I also got like a small trowel, so that way I could practice leave no trace ethics to dig myself a little bit of hole. And I definitely encourage everyone to follow no trace ethics. I mean, I know it can be inconvenient, but it's definitely something I want to make sure I do very well out there. But, in the spirit of keeping it as minimalist and as light as possible, I'm not really taking a whole lot. My cell phone is going to be pretty much my main thing I'm going to use for cameras and video and, vlogging and things like that. I thought about bringing out a GoPro, but I don't really want to have to fiddle too much with, connecting the GoPro to the phone, hoping I can get signal, and then also have another battery to charge, because I'm going to be taking a power bank from a company called Rav Power or Rave Power. However, it's like RAV Power. So however you pronounce that, I'm taking a power bank so that way I could recharge my phone and recharge my headlamp that I'll be bringing out with me. And also I'm bringing some headphones from the company. Goodness, I can't even think. Is it Java? Why can't I think of the name of the company of my own equipment? But I'm taking some wireless earbuds with me in case I want to listen to like podcasts or audiobooks on the trail. And the cool thing is the ones that I do have, they got hear through capabilities where it'll actually use the microphone to bring in sounds from, the environment around me. So I can kind of, keep some situational awareness going while I'm out there.
Like that.
Not that I think I'll have too much problem with wildlife, but, there are black bears up there. There are wolves. And, there's been some very rare sightings of cougars up there too. So, I mean, the chances of me running into any of these animals is pretty slim, but not impossible. So got to maintain some situational awareness.
Situational awareness. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'll get the name of those headphones from you later. Those sound really interesting. I love the patch. Make sure you let us know if the Avar guys decide to produce more of the patches for sale or for the fundraiser. I appreciate you mentioning that all of the donations are going to the Avar cause and mission, and that you're self-funding this adventure that is the awareness vehicle for Avar. So thank you for that self-funding that you're doing. I know I threw in a couple bucks to the dual trek mission,
which I
so
appreciate, and they do
no,
too.
of
So
course, I'm happy to continue to support this. So all that is shifting. Is that shifting over to the Wolverine mission?
well, it's all pretty much been received by Avar,
Okay,
because that's the cool
perfect.
thing about GoFundMe is that like each nonprofit organization, they just register their EIN number with Avar, so that way, when I set up the GoFundMe page, I was able to select them, so that way all the money that comes in, it just goes directly to them through GoFundMe. So it's yeah, so definitely something I really wanted to reassure people about is that, yeah, none of this is coming to me. I don't want people to feel like that they're helping me pay for this fun trip that I'm about to go on. No, I'm covering the expenses of everything, because I really want everything that comes in, and I want people to be rest assured that any donations they make, it's going to go towards exactly what it's supposed to, and that is helping veterans through Avar.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and thank you for clarifying one other thing there, which I wasn't sure of, which is I thought the funds were all getting aggregated until the mission was completed, and then it was getting released to Avar. So that's great news that it's already gone to work for those guys. So thanks for letting me know that.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple more things to make sure we cover here before we wrap up. Let me ask a little bit in terms of your mindset while you're out there. Not only what it's been like as you've had to shift from the South American adventure to finding a new way to make this happen, and what that looked like. Let's talk a little bit about that, and let's talk about that. That integrity that's really tied you to making some way for this to happen, and what you think that's going to look like as you have time out there to think, maybe to journal. I don't know if that's part of your practice that you might, but just what's going to be in your mind that you connect to that led you to make this happen, find a way or make a way, and then that you can sort of connect to along the way, especially when things get tough or tired or blisters or cold or hungry, whatever that looks like. How do you ground yourself in the purpose of the mission?
Well, I think we've all heard the saying, remember why you started, or remember your why as well. And then I know very much why it is that I want to do this. And that is, to hopefully provide some good value to veterans through Avar. The money that comes in can get like more and more veterans to go out and benefit from these digs. And then it's just also, the story that I want to, tell too. It's just that, I think we talked about a little bit about how in this modern day we're kind of been like disconnected from nature and everything, and we've had it really really easy, which I think has made a lot of people very soft. But that's an entirely different rabbit hole. But it's just, I think this will hopefully serve as a reminder, not only to myself but also anyone that I share this story with, is that we're far more capable than what many of us might believe. We've done, like, humans have done incredible things, ever since we've been on this planet. I mean, just like look around you. I mean, look at these skyscrapers that we've built, and just look at the technologies that we developed and the innovations that we've had. I mean, we are capable of so many things. And but then I see a lot of people are often faced with things like self-doubt. They are afraid of failure with many things that they want to achieve in their life. And that's, another thing that I want to portray through this. And, you're absolutely right. I know I'm going to have days out there where it's just, I'm going to be cold. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be tired. It's just, the thing with Mother Nature, she is like the greatest equal opportunist like out there. She doesn't care what you look like. She doesn't care about your social status. She doesn't care how much money you have. She's going to treat everyone on this planet equally but I think one of the ways I'm actually going about this, though, is I'm already preparing for worst case scenario in my head. Not that I want it to happen, but if it does, then I know I'm ready for it. Like if I'm going to come across a wolf pack, I'm going to expect it to be the biggest and baddest pack in the whole forest, and if I expect this, and if I'm going to get a snowstorm, I'm going to expect like the winds to just blow so heavily that it wants to blow me off my feet. And again, not that I want those things to happen. It's just that if they do, I'm ready for them. And if it turns out to be less than that, well, then I'll just be pleasantly surprised.
Nice. I like it. So you might be digging a snow cave with a trowel if you have to, or take down the alpha wolf first, I guess would be the plan with the pack.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, you're right. Like it's so inspiring and cool what you're doing. I'm really excited to follow the adventure to the extent you can connect while you're out there, and certainly have you back and talk to you on the other side of this. But you mentioned fear of failure, which is so, I get it, right? I get that that's a natural inclination. It's a survival mechanism, right? We're
Right.
afraid of the unknown for a reason. We're afraid of failure for a reason, but we live in a historically safe environment and world. Most of us have that good fortune. And so failure tends to be things that aren't going to most of the time cause us mortal danger. It's feeling it's feeling based, it's emotional, it's feeling
Yeah.
embarrassed or feeling a certain way. And so it's so contradictory, really, because in this world, our opportunities to fail are really learning opportunities. They're opportunities to grow. They're not something to be scared of.
Yeah, like if you were to fail, let's say on a hunt thousands of years ago, that probably meant your tribe's not going to eat,
Yeah.
or whatever the animal that you hunt that you're hunting will come back and hunt you. If you, let's say, miss that shot with your bow and arrow, or you miss the shot when you throw that spear. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Modern day consequences for mistakes aren't necessarily really life and death. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. Just treat them as learning experiences and grow from them, and don't be afraid to seek them out.
Yeah, embrace the opportunity to fail and learn from them and keep going and adapt, like you've adapted the mission here, which is super cool. And I was so excited to hear about. What's I gotta just be a smart ass and ask the question, what's going on there in Michigan? Are you gonna have to wear a face diaper on this hike?
Well, it's just, I'm not sure exactly what sort of mandates in place, but let's say if there are mandates, I mean, I don't think a lot of people are really going along with them anymore. And when I first came up here from Florida, and as we know, Florida, hasn't is one of those states that hasn't really been following mandates ever since the beginning. I kind of had the initial impression that maybe when I get back to Michigan, I will kind of be in this like dystopian type sort of setting, but it wasn't really the case at all. Like, yeah, every businesses I've gone into so far, like none of the customers are wearing any masks, and none of the staff are wearing any mask. You may see people wear masks from time to time, but it's just one of those things where no one really gets on anyone else's case for what it is that they decide to do. So and then so I don't think that's really going to be a problem when I'm out on the trail. Actually, in fact, I've already had a couple of people, trail angels actually, that have already said they would be willing to open up their homes to me if I need a place to stay while I'm out on the trail too. So clearly, like this virus is not really something that a lot of people seem to be concerned about around here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that everybody has the right for an individual choice to do what's best in their mind and their doctor's advice, the experts for them individually to make their own individual health choices.
Yeah.
I'm here in California. It's a little bit of a different scenario. There are some extremists, but as with anything in life and in the world, what we see portrayed in news and hyperbolized is not representative for the most part. Most people are just want to go about their day, live their life, have their kids in school, remain as healthy as possible. And hey, what better way than getting outdoors, getting some fresh air, getting some movement in. 1,200 miles worth.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm really looking forward to, because I mean, of course I will have to connect to internet from time to time while I'm out there, of course, but for the most part though, I just plan to leave my phone on airplane mode. Well, for two reasons: one, to keep the battery fresh. You drain a lot of battery when you're trying to search for networks to connect to, but at the time, it's exactly like you said. And even if I'm going to be doing vlogging and taking photos, I'm probably only going to have like a select window for each day where I'm going to do that. And the rest of the time is just going to be, well, frankly, a little bit selfish. So that way I could, get the most out of this experience and, really kind of take it in. And again, it's just kind of like how the way, adventurers and explorers have done things like, for hundreds and thousands of years. It's like, they weren't taking like photos or selfies or anything like that to try to seek validation from other people. It was just, taking in these experiences and just, keeping it in their minds and, making it as vivid, much more vivid that way.
Amazing. All right. Well, I'm super excited for you. Stay safe out there. I want to hear all about it, get you back and hear about the adventure, the all around adventure when you are done on the other side of this thing. So just to wrap it up for today, before you head out, what is in terms of that, right? Vlogging or pictures or however you may check in with the world to let us know how you progress. So we're going to get links out for a number of things here. What's the best way to keep tabs on you during this?
I'd say the best way would be to follow my Instagram. That's certainly where I'm going to be the most active, and obviously, it's the best platform for for photos and everything. I also have a YouTube channel where I'll be uploading my vlogs here and there, and I may do some podcasting while I'm out there. I mean, of course, I'm obviously taking a production break from my regular scheduled podcasting. But if I do upload podcasts, it's just going to be like maybe weekly check-ins or maybe like audio journals or something like that I might upload and share. But yeah, so you can find my Instagram. It's just my username is @allaroundadventure, one word with no dashes. And my YouTube channel, since I don't have enough subscribers just yet, I just got kind of a more generic link. So, but I'll send that over to you if you want to link that up. And then if you want to read a little bit more about the trek itself, you can head to allaroundadventure.com/Wolverine Walk. And if you are willing and able to make a donation to Avar, you can do so through GoFundMe.com/Wolverine Walk. And yeah, you can find everything there.
All right, perfect. I've got all those, and I'll get your YouTube channel. We'll get that link out. We'll just put that. I know it's not a friendly link. We'll get that out there. But Josh, hey, thank you we made this happen kind of last minute. I want to thank you for making time. I appreciate you. And, I admire you. I am excited for you, and I'm excited to see how you go and hear about it on the other side of things. Your theme of all around adventure and travel, you and I have talked about this before. The most beautiful thing with travel is the unexpected. It's the people and the adventure that you may have in mind, but the reality becomes so much more fulfilling. So super excited for you and can't wait to hear all about it come November, December, when you get back and we can debrief.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate you having me today, Michael, and I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Always, Josh. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you.